Om Jnana Jnana-Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutabadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Vishakamitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Navastate Aptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnavarishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vicharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Yadeshatarani Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauradishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janma Jasya Yutanvayadutarataschatveshu Bhignaswarat Tini Brahma Hridayadikave Muhyanti Yatsurayah Tejo Varimridham Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargum Vrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharma Projita Vaibhavatra Varamo Nirmasaranam Sakam Vidyam. Let's take this look. Dharma Projita Vaibhavatra Varamo Nirmasaranam Satam Vidyam Vastu Mamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatvayormulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimba Parairishvaraha Siddhyoridi Avarudyate Yatra Kritrivi Shoshroshabhi Takshana Nigamakalpadarulitam Palam Sukamukadam Jyotadava Samyutam Pivata Bhagavatam Rasamanayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukam. Next we go to chapter number 2. Sri Sutta Vacha Yam Pravrajantamanupitamapeeta Krityam Dvaipayana Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmaya Tayatara Vominetus Tam Sarva Bhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi Yasvanubhavamachila Shrutisharamekam Adhyatmadipamatitirshatham tamondam Samsarinam Karunaya Purana Guhyam Tam Vyasasunamupayami Gurum Muninam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye. So next, these are the prayers that you have to offer before chanting, before singing the Bhagavatam. So now I am the 6th chapter. So yesterday we have read Narada Muni about the sincere devotee. How is now? Let's see the text number 27. Evam Krishna Mater Brahman Nasakta tasyamalātmanah kalah pradurabhut-kale tadit-saudhamaniyatha. Evam thus Krishna Mate, one who is fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, Brahmano Vyasadeva, no, not asaktasya, one who is attached, amala atmanaha, of one who is completely freed from all material dirt, kalaha, death, pradhura, both become visible, khale, in course of time, tadit, lightning, saud, money, illuminating it as it is. And so Brahmana Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and who therefore have no attachments, being completely freed from material taints, met with death, as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. To be absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material dirts or hankerings. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also devotee of Lord Krishna, who is guaranteed to pass on to the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful, naturally has no hankerings for petty material things, which are like dolls or shadows of the reality and are without permanent value. That's the sign of spiritually enriched persons. And in the due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden the change of the body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning, and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Jai. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection due to his body's being spiritualized like a red-hot iron in contact with the fire. Oh, thank you so much, Prabhupada. Prayujmane maitam shuddham bhagavatim tanum arabdha karma nirvano nepatatpan pancha bhautikah. Prayujmane, having been awarded on me, tam that Shuddham, transcendental Bhagavatim, fit for associating with the personality of Godhead, Tanum, body, or up the acquired karma, fruitless work, Nirvana, prohibitive, Nyapatat, quit, Pancha Bhautikaha, body made of 5 material elements. Translation: having been awarded a transcendental body befitting and associated with the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of the 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruity results of the work karma stopped. Informed by the personality of God that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, Narada got his spiritual body as soon as he quitted his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with the 3 primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reactions of material fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the lack of these qualities. What are they? That's an eternity is lacking it, freedom of material modes, that will be lacking, freedom from the reactions of the fruitive activities will be lacking. Okay. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Wow. It acts like a magnetic influence of the touchstone upon iron. The influence of the transcendental devotional service is like that. So sublime. Therefore, change of the body means stoppage of the reaction of the 3 quality modes of material nature upon the pure devotee. Wow. There are many instances of this in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and many other devotees were able to see the personality of God face to face, apparently in the same body. This means the quality of the devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. That is the opinion of authorized Goswamis via the authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that beginning from the Indra Gopal germ up to the great Indra, the king of the heaven, all living beings are subject to the law of karma and are bound to suffer and enjoy the fruity results of their own work. Only the devotee is exempt from such reactions. Wow. By the causeless mercy of Supreme Authority, the personality of Godhead. Kalpanta idam adaya sayanena vasyodhanvataha Shishaishyoranu pranam vibrishendaraham vibhuhum. Kalpanta, at the end of the Brahma's day, idam this adhaya, taking to either sayane, having gone to lie down, ambasi, in the causal water, Udvataha, devastation, Sheshayishioho, lying on the personality of Godhead Narayana, Anupranam, breathing, Vivishe, entered into Antaha, within Aham I, Vibhoho of Lord Brahma. At the end of the millennium, when the personality of Godhead Lord Narayana lay down within the water of devastation, Brahma began to enter into him along with all creative elements, and I also entered through his breathing. Purport. Narada is known as the son of Brahma, as Lord Krishna is known as the son of Vasudeva. The personality of Godhead is liberated devotees like Narada appear in the material world by the same process as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita. The birth and the birth and activities of the Lord are all transcendental. Therefore, according to authorized opinion, the birth of Narada, son of Brahma, is also a transcendental pastime. His appearance and disappearance are practically on the same level as that of Lord. The Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different as spiritual entities. They belong to the same category of transcendence. Sahasra Yuga Paryanti Udhayadam Shishrikshataha Mariti Mishrishaya Pranipyoham Chajangiri. Sahasra 1000 Yuga 4,300,000 years Paryanta, at the end of the duration, Udhaya having expired, Idam the Shishrishata desired to create again. Mariti Mishraha, Rishis like Mariti, Rishi, all the Rishis, Pranebhya, out of his senses, Aham I, Cha also, Jajni appeared. Translation. After 4,300,000,000 years, solar years, when Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord, all the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord, and I also appeared along with them. Purport. The duration of the day in the life of Brahma is 4,320,000,000 solar years. This is also stated also in the Bhagavad Gita. So for this period, Brahma rests in Yoga Nidra within the body of Garbhodakashai Vishnu, the generator of Brahma. Thus, after the sleeping period of Brahma, when there is again creation with the will of the Lord through the agency of Brahma, all the great rishis appear from different parts of the transcendental body, and Narada also appears. This means that Narada appears in the same transcendental body, just as a man awakes from sleep in the same body. Sri Narada is eternally free to move in all parts of the transcendental and material creations of the Almighty. He appears and disappears in his own transcendental body, which is without a distinction of the body and soul, unlike conditioned beings. Antarbahishchalokam strin Paryayami askandita vrataha Anugrahan Mahavishnu Avignata Gatitvache. Antaha in the transcendental world, Bahi in the material world, Cha and Lokan planets, three divisions, Paryami, travel, Askandita, unbroken Vrataha, wow, Anugrahat with causeless mercy, Mahavishnu, the Mahavishnu, Karadakshai Vishnu, Avighata without restriction, Gatihi entrance, Kvachit at any time. Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotion service of the Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there are three divisions of the material spheres, namely the Urdhva Loka, topmost planets, Madhyaloka, midway planets, and Adholoka, downward planets. Beyond the Urdhva Loka planets, that is to say about the Brahma Loka, or the material coverings of the universes, and above that is the spiritual sky, which is unlimited in expansion and containing unlimited self-illuminated Vaikuntha planets, inhabited by God Himself along with His associates, who are all eternally liberated living entities. Sri Narada Muni could enter all these planets in both the material and spiritual spheres without restriction, as much as the Almighty Lord is free to move personally in any part of His creation. In the material world, the living beings are influenced by the three modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. But Sri Narada Muni is transcendental to all these material modes, and thus he can travel everywhere unrestricted. Wow. He's liberated spaceman. Wow, what word? Liberated spaceman. The causeless mercy of Lord Vishnu is unparalleled, and such mercy is pursued by the devotees only by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, the devotees never fall down but the materialists, that fruity workers and speculative philosophers, do fall down, being forced by the respective modes of nature. The rishis above mentioned cannot enter into the transcendental world like Narada. This fact is disclosed in the Nrsimha Purana. Rishis like Marichi are authorities in fruity work, and rishis like Sanaka and Sanatana are authorities in philosophical speculations. But Sri Narada Muni is the prime authority for transcendental devotion service of the Lord. All great authorities in the devotional service of the Lord follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni in the order of Narada Bhakti Shudra, and therefore all the devotees of the Lord are unhesitantly qualified to enter into the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha. Devadattam yamam veenam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam Murchayatva harikatham gayamanascharami Deva, the personality of Lord Sri Krishna, the Dham gifted by Imam, this Veenam, a musical string instrument of Swara, singing meter, Brahma, transcendental. I heard this. Narada Muni Bhajaya Veena Radhikaramana Name. I think this is the bhajan, very nice bhajan actually. A musical stringed instrument swara, singing meter, Brahma transcendental, vibhushitam, decorated with a murchayatva, vibrating harikatham, transcendental message, gayamanaha, singing constantly, charami, dumo, aham, I. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So it's given that the musical string, and thus I travel constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating the instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound, and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. Wow, the veena was given to by Krishna. The musical string instrument called the veena, which was handed to Narada by Lord Sri Krishna, is described in the Linga Purana, and this is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. This transcendental instrument is identical with Lord Sri Krishna and Narada because of all of them are of same transcendental category. Sound vibrated by the instrument cannot be material. Therefore, glories and pastimes which are broadcast by the instrument of Narada are also transcendental, without a tinge of material inebriety. The 7 singing meters, namely Sa, Sajha, Ri, Rishabha, Gha, Gandhara, Ma, Madhyama, Sa, Ri, Gha, Ma, Pa, Dani, Pa, Panchama, Dha, Dvait, Dhvai, Dhavata, and Ni, Nishada, are also transcendental and specifically meant for transcendental songs. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Deva is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift to the instrument, and thus he is always engaged in singing his transcendental glories, and is therefore infallible in his exalted position. Following in the footsteps of Sri Narada Muni, a self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use the sound meters, namely Sa, Ri, Gama, etc., in the service of the Lord, by constantly singing the glories of the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavatam. Following in the footsteps of Sri Narada Muni, a self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use sound meters. We have to sing properly then, not like anything you want to sing properly. We use sound proper meters, namely Sa, Ri, Gama, etc., in the service of the Lord by constantly singing the glories of the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Pravayata svaviryani titapada priyasvaraha ahutaiva me shigram darshanam yati chetasi. Pravayataha, the singing, svaviryani, own activities, titapadaha, the Lord whose lotus feet are the source of virtues, are holiness. Priyasravaha, pleasing to hear, called for. You are just like me, to me, Shigram, very soon, Darshanam, sight. Yati appears Chetasi, on the seat of the heart. Translation: the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. Wow! The Absolute Personality of God is not different from his transcendental name, form, pastimes, and the sound vibrations thereof. As soon as a pure devotee engages himself in the pure devotional service of hearing, chanting, and remembering the name, fame, and activities of the Lord at once, he becomes invisible. He becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. Therefore, a pure devotee who is related with the Lord in loving transcendental service can experience the presence of the Lord at every moment. It is a natural psychology in every individual case that a person likes to hear and enjoy his personal glories enamored by others. That is a natural instinct in the Lord. Being also an individual personality like others is not an exemption to this psychology, because psychological characters visible in individual souls are but reflections of the same psychology in the Absolute Lord. The only difference is the Lord is the greatest personality for all in the Absolute in all his affairs. If therefore the Lord is attracted by the pure devotee's chanting of his glories, there is nothing astonishing. Since he is absolute, he can appear himself in the picture of his glorification, the two things being identical. Shri Narada chants the glorification of the Lord not for his personal benefit, but because the glorifications are identical with the Lord. Narada Muni penetrates into the presence of the Lord by the transcendental chanting. Jai. So एतद्दीयतु आतुरजितानां मात्रस्पर्शे च यं मुहुः भवसिन्धुप्लवोत्पृष्टो हरिचर्यानुवर्णनम्. This he certainly aturachittanam, of whose minds are always full of cares and anxieties, matra, objects of sense enjoyment, sparsha, senses, ichai, by desires, muhu, always, bhavasagara, bhavasindhu, the ocean of nescience, plavaha, boat, dristaha, experienced haricharya, activities of the Hari Lord, personally regarded, anuvarnanam, constant recitation. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of God. Jai. Constant chanting the transcendental activities of the personality of God. The symptom of living being that he cannot remain silent even for. The symptom of living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about the subjects which satisfy the senses. But as these things are experienced under the influence of external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. On the contrary, they become full with cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, and what is not. That which cannot give them satisfaction is called as an object of full satisfaction. So Narada Muni, by his personal experience, says that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. The point is that the subject matter only should be changed. No one can check the thinking activities of a living being, nor the feeling, willing, and walking processes. But if one wants actual happiness, he must change the subject matter only. Instead of talking about the politics of a dying man, one must discuss the politics administered by the Lord himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artist, or one can turn his attention to the activities of the Lord with his eternal associates like the Gopis and Lakshmis. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, by his causeless mercy, descends to the earth and manifests activities almost on the line of the worldly men, but at the same time extraordinarily, because he is Almighty. He does so for the benefit of all conditioned souls, so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. By doing so, the conditioned soul will gradually be promoted to transcendence. Transcendent and easily cross the ocean of nescience, the sources of all miseries. This is stated from the personal experience by such an authority as Sri Narada Muni, and we can have the same experience also if we begin to follow in the footsteps of great says the great dearmost devotee of the Lord, Mahajano Yena Gatasavantaha Yamadibhir Yoga Patay Kamalobhato Muhu Mukunda Sipaya Yadvat Tatamadhana Samshayati Yam Adibhi, by the process of practicing self-restraint, Yoga Patahi, by the system of yoga, mystic bodily power to attain the bodily stage, Kama, desires for sense satisfaction, Lobha, lust for satisfaction of the senses, Hataha, curbed, Muhu, always, Mukunda, personality of God, Seva, by the service of Yadvat, as it is, Tata, like that, Atma, the soul, Adha, for all the practical purposes, does not Samyati be satisfied. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses with the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbance of desire and lust. What is it? It is true that by practicing restraint of senses by yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbance of desire and lust. But this is not the sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. Oh, very nice. Purport. Yoga means aims at controlling the senses by practice of the mixture process of bodily exercise like in sitting, thinking, feeling, willing, concentrating, meditating, and at least being merged into the transcendence. One can control the senses. The senses are considered like venomous serpents, and the yoga system is just to control them. On the other hand, Narada Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses and transcendental loving service of the Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. By his experience, he says that the devotion service to the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses. Jai. And the service of the Lord Mukunda, the senses are transcendently engaged. Thus, there is no chance of being engaged in sense satisfaction. The senses want some engagement, right? Yes. To check them artificial is no check at all, because as soon as there is some opportunity for enjoyment, the serpent-like senses will certainly take advantage of it. There are many such instances in the history, just like Vishwamitra Muni falling a victim to the beauty of Menaka. But Thakur Haridas was allured at midnight by the well-dressed Maya, and still she could not induce the great devotee into her trap. The whole idea is that without devotional service of the Lord, neither yoga system nor dry philosophical speculation can ever become successful. Pure devotional service of the Lord without being tinged with fruitive work, mystic yoga, or spiritual philosophy is the foremost procedure to attain self-realization. Such pure devotional service is transcendental in nature, and the system of yoga and gnana are subordinate to such a process. When the transcendental devotional service is mixed with the subordinate process, it is no longer transcendental, but it is called mixed devotional service. Srila Vasudeva, author of Srimad Bhagavatam, will gradually develop all these different systems of transcendental realization in the text. Sarvam dadidammakyatam yat prishtoham tvayanaga janma karma rasayasmi bhavataschatmatoshanam. Sarva, all that idam, this akyatam described, yet whatever prishtaha asked by aham, me, tvaya, by you, anagha, without any sense, janma, birth, karma, activities, rahasyam, mysterious, me, mine, bhavataha, your, cha, and atma, self, toshanam, satisfaction. O Vyasadeva, you are freed from all sins. Thus I have experienced by my birth and activities for self-realization as you asked. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also. But the process of devotional activities from the beginning to the stage of transcendence is all duly explained to satisfy the inquiries of Vyasadeva. He has explained how the seeds of devotional service were sown by the transcendental association, how they gradually developed by hearing the sages. I didn't understand anything. The process of devotional activities from the beginning to the stage of the transcendent is all duly explained to satisfy the inquiries of Vyasadeva. He has explained how the seeds of devotional service were sown by the transcendental association, how they gradually developed by hearing the sages. The result of such hearing is a detachment from worldliness, so much so that even a small boy could receive the death news of his mother, who was his only caretaker, as the blessing of God. And at once he took the opportunity to search out the Lord. A sincere urge for having an interview with the Lord was also granted to him. Although it is not possible for anyone to see the Lord with mundane eyes, he also explained how by execution of pure transcendental service, one can get rid of the fruity action of accumulated work, and how he transformed his transcendental body into spiritual one. The spiritual body is alone able to enter into the spiritual realm of the world, Lord. And no one but a pure devotee is eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. All the mysteries of the transcendental realization are duly experienced by Narada Muni himself, and therefore by hearing such an authority one can have some idea of the results of the transcendental devotion's life, which are hardly delineated even in the original texts of the Vedas. In the Vedas and the Upanishads, there are only indirect hints to all this. Nothing is directly explained there. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of all the medical trees of the literatures. Sutta Vacha Evam Sambhasha Bhagavan Narado Vasavi Opsutam Hamantri Vinam Ranayam Yayu Yadrichiko Munihi. Sutta Goswami Vacha said, Evam thus, Sambhasya, addressing Bhagavan, transcendently powerful Narada Muni, Vasavi, named Vasavi, Satyavati, Sutam San, Amantriya, inviting Veenam, instrument, Ranayam, vibrating Ayo, went Yadrichika, wherever willing, Munihi the sage. So the Goswami said, thus addressing Vasudeva, Sri Narada Muni took leave of him, and vibrating on his Veena instrument, he left to wander at his free will. Every living being is anxious for full freedom because that is his transcendental nature. Really? Yeah. And this freedom is obtained only through the transcendental service of the Lord. Jai. Illusioned by the external energy, everyone thinks he is free, yeah. But actually he is bound by the laws of nature. A conditioned soul cannot really move from one place to another, even on this earth. And what to speak of one planet to another. But a full-fledged free soul like Narada, always engaged in chanting the glories of the Lord, Lord's glories, chanting the Lord's glory, is free to move not only on planet but also in any part of the universe, as well as in any part of the spiritual sky. You can just imagine the extent and unlimitedness of his freedom, which is as good as that of Supreme Lord. There is no reason or obligation for his traveling, or no one can stop him from his free movement. Similarly, the transcendental system of the devotion service is also free. It may or may not develop in a particular person even after he undergoes all retail formulas. Similarly, the association of the devotee is also free. One may be fortunate to have it, or one may not have it, even after thousands of endeavors. Therefore, in all the spheres of devotion service, freedom is main pivot. Without freedom, there is no execution of devotion service. The freedom surrendered to the Lord doesn't mean that the devotee becomes dependent in every respect. To surrender to the Lord through the transcendental medium of spiritual mastery is to attain complete freedom of life. Aho devarshi dhanayo dhanyoyam yatkritim sarvi sargadhanvanaha gayan madhyanidam tandri ramayati adhuram jagad. Oh, all glory to Devarshi, the sages of the gods. Dhanyaha, all success. Ayam yat, one whom. Kirtim, glory. Sargadhanvaha, the personality of Godhead. Gayan, singing. Madhyan, taking pleasure in idam, this. Tantriya, by means of instrument. Ramayati, inner ligaments. Aturam, distressed Jagat world. Translation: all glory and the success to the Sri Narada Muni becomes because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead, and so doing, he himself takes pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. Sri Narada Muni plays on his instrument to glorify the transcendental activities of the Lord and to give relief to all the miserable living entities of the universe. No one is happy here in this within the universe, and what is felt is happiness is Maya's illusion. The illusory energy of the Lord is so strong that even the hog who lives on filthy stool feels happy. No one can be truly happy within the material world. No one can be truly happy within the material world. Sri Narada Muni, in order to enlighten the miserable inhabitants, wandered everywhere. His mission is to get them back home, back to Godhead. That is the mission of all genuine devotees of the Lord, following the footsteps of that great sage. Thus ends the Bhakti-Ved and the purpose of the first canto, 6th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Conversation between Narada and Vyasa. After that is chapter number 7, the son of Drona punished. We'll continue. I will take time in the day and I'll finish this chapter. So nice. Bhagavatam is so nice. I have to read more than half an hour. Thank you all for joining in the morning for half an hour reading.